You're watching Tusk and Tyre, more specifically our 8-part series where paths begin. Our team is en route to Solitaire, but after a month on the road, moods can change, not to mention even more trouble with Motsumi. Will the train survive the last stretch, and what else can be found in what seems like a vast, empty desert? Let's find out in part 8 of 8. Welcome back to Tusk and Tyre Overlanding.
I'm back at the mechanic workshop to fix Motsumi's exhaust leak where the turbo mounts to the manifold. Hopefully we can get it sorted today and then still head to Solitaire. Today it's about 4 hours drive, and then from there we're going to head to Marienfluss into the southeast of Namibia, where a lot of sand dunes and places that I want to go show Stefan and them. The moment of truth. Let's see. Start this train. Let's roll. Man, oh man. She's back.
There's a line where the tar runs out and the dust starts telling truths, where the map gets quiet and the sky gets loud and you learn what you can push through. Coffee in a tin cup, sunrise on the hood, miles of nothing that somehow feels good. And the farther that you go from comfort, the closer you get to you. Yeah, the road can shake you, rattle bolts and plans, but it also takes you to the best parts of who I am. 'Cause overlanding ain't just going somewhere, it's breathing in a life.
So we finally said goodbye to the ocean, and we decided to do that at Walvis Bay waterfront. Saw some pelican, small seal. Yeah, sad to leave, but gotta go on. And unfortunately, when we turned, we're on the way home. So for the next 4 days, we will be traveling towards home. We're aiming for Solitaire tonight. Tomorrow, most probably Marienthal or Gorge or somewhere there. We don't know yet. We'll see how far we get. And then from there to Arawap, through that small border by Arawap on the Van Zyls Rus Road to Kuruman, and from there home. So we just turned off the C14 on the D9182, as apparently for the next 40 k's on the C14 the road is very, very corrugated. So this is a little detour, 11 k's longer, but a more beautiful gravel road to travel on. Oh, the tires are deflated. Let's get this train back on the road. The first 60 k's, Motsumi is handling well. No issues, no problems. Sounds like everything is fixed.
We've had storms rolling like a warning sign, campfire smoke in our eyes, a flat in the dark, hands full of grease, still laughing under star-white skies. Some days it's a postcard, perfect and clean. Some days it's mud and a busted dream, but you learn real quick what matters and what you can leave behind. Yeah,
Hey, so it is 8:30. We arrived at Solitaire. C14, as always, corrugated and horrendous. They really need to do something about that road. But we're gonna have dinner at Solitaire's restaurant, as it's already late. We set up camp and we're gonna enjoy the evening.
Tonight. I watched the sunset on 1,000 miles, felt small in a land so strong. And when the world gets heavy, this road reminds me where I belong. Not in perfect, not in easy, in the honest, in the try, in the push, in the patience, in the reasons we don't quit.
A very good morning here from Solitaire in Namibia. Had a beautiful sunrise, which was awesome after the last couple of days in Swakop. And Swakop, if you're lucky, here by 11 o'clock, the sun comes out. The sun pushes the clouds away. And then if you're not so lucky, by 3 o'clock, the sun pushes the clouds away, but by 5 o'clock the cloud bank rolls in again. And in the last 4 days there was no sunshine in Swakop. Only on New Year's Eve day we had a beautiful day where there was sunshine the whole day. So yeah, this is nice. I think it's time to reflect on the trip a bit. As yesterday when we left Walvis Bay, we started heading home. Although we're taking it slow, still on holiday. Yeah, but that was the turning point when we started heading home. So we made it to Solitaire, and from Solitaire we're going to the southeast of Namibia, so Stampret, Gorge, Aruap, those areas. Also very remote areas, not much going on there, but beautiful scenery. Yeah, Motsumi gave me a few headaches this trip, which never happens. There's always something small here and there, tightening a bolt or a bull bar coming loose, as you saw on the Mabua trip. That's to be understandable with the corrugations and everything, but we got back, we did some modifications, and I mean this corrugations did nothing now to the bumper, so it's learning as you go on. And you can basically call me the trip organizer. As this is only Stefan and his family's third trip with us, so they're fairly new in it, and but they're awesome companions. I mean, a lot of people would have lost their cool and their patience and just said, cheers, we'll see you later, we can't go on like this. But they're awesome companions. I mean, it's not self-inflicted, they're definitely not. The turbo, the injector pipes that's gone, the trailer that we battled with, eventually I found the problem. It was the bushes on the blade springs. Got some bushes at Simot in Swakopmund, replaced that, and it's holding. After this C14, I'm sure it must have broken again if it wasn't the bushes, but it's holding, and we couldn't even find all the high tensile bolts, so we put galvanized bolts, as it's all we could find. Being the trip organizer, I mean, everybody looks at you, what's next, how's this, how are we going to fix this, and you got to stay positive, not just for yourself, but for my family, for my friends. And you can't let this breakdowns get to you. It will strip the whole trip of the purpose. And that's difficult sometimes. That's really difficult sometimes. being positive in a situation where things just keep going wrong. But yeah, this is not my first rodeo. I mean, I've had new cars breaking on me. Cars with 10,000 kilometers. I broke a crank pulley on a Navara V9X. The crank pulley is rubber molded and the rubber molding came off. And also I missed a few days of the trip. So I don't say I'm used to it, but it happens. And then you just sort it out as it comes. Luckily, Motsumi has never left me on the side of the road. I could always get to my destination, even if it was limping. She's never left me on the side of the road. But an awesome trip otherwise. It feels like months ago where we were at Walvis Falls. I'm not even counting days. I don't know how long it's been. Must probably about 2.5, 3 weeks. And then into the Marienfluss over Roydrom Pass. And then the unexpected climbing out Hartmannsberge. That was some serious off-roading. Although most will call it a bad gravel road. But there was 2 spots that we had to pack rocks and build roads. And then the one night wild camping on the Hartmanns Mountains. There was no community campsites there, so no other option than to wild camp. That was awesome. And then once you leave the mountains into the and into the Hartmannsvlakte, there's sand dunes, and down to Piros Canyon, went to Twyfelfontein, and then went to White Lady Lodge, where we just missed the storm. Don't know if you guys saw it on social media that at West and White Lady Lodge, the flash floods, and some people were taken away by the flash floods, and we just missed it. We missed it by half an hour. As we left White Lady Lodge, we saw clouds build up, big storms, and as we turned at West, when you look left towards West, it was covered in dust with that storm, with the wind. We turned right towards Henties, and that storm followed us. And I told my wife, I said to her, the rivers will flow with us. So afterwards we heard that we got 50 millimeters of rain, which Tanny's son that stays in Ois says that's about 5 years worth of rain in an hour. So you can imagine what that looked like. And then to Swakop, and where Motsumi decided this turbo is not for me anymore. Luckily we could get that sorted out as well. And now we had Solitaire. It's really been an awesome trip. I will definitely be back to the north, as the north of Namibia and the south of Namibia is totally different. Totally. The south is more commercialized for me, although it is remote areas. But Hartmannsvlakte is as remote as it comes. So let me get back to camp, start waking everybody up so we can tear down camp and go have apple pie here at Solitaire for breakfast. You cannot stop at Solitaire and not have apple pie. Shame late Uncle McGregor became a legacy in this area, in the whole of Namibia, for his apple pie. And I'm sure everybody stops here for that. Let me get back to camp and let the day begin.
Morning light on the open plain,
great unknown, and I can feel it pulling me home. Ooh, I've been chasing something true. Every road just leads me to run with the wild, run with the wild. Feel the fire, the freedom inside. Run with the wild, run with the wild. Hear the drums of the earth collide. Run with the wild, run with the wild. River flows through the fields of gold. Stories live in the hearts we hold. Every scar is a map of time. Oh yeah. And every breath feels like the first sunrise. Yeah. Ooh, I've been finding what's been lost. Every dream still worth the cost. Run with the wild, run with the wild. Feel the fire, the freedom inside. Run with the wild, run with the wild. Hear the drums of the earth collide. Run with the wild, run with the wild. No fences here, just sky and stone. The world reminds me I'm not alone. Oh, I belong where the wind runs free. Africa's calling me to run with the wild, run with the wild, run with the wild, run with the wild, yeah. Run with the wild. Hear the drums of the earth collide. Run with the wild, run with the wild, run with the wild. Feel the fire, the freedom inside. Run with the wild, run with the wild. Hear the drums of the earth collide. Run with the wild, run with the wild.
After we left Solitaire, I noticed the energy in the convoy had changed. Not bad, just quieter, a bit flat. And that's something I've learned the hard way. If you're organizing a trip, you don't only watch the road, you watch your people. So I pulled Stefan aside and checked in. Are you guys still good? Still enjoying this? Are you still up for the plan? We spoke it through, and together we adjusted. No drama, no blame, just honesty. That's how you keep a trip healthy. You talk before small things become big things. So instead of pushing on to the southeast, we turned towards Keertmanshoop, spent time at the cheetah farm and the quiver tree forest just outside town, and then we set our sights on our last night to Augrabies. Also considering we've been a month on this overlanding trip. This is Augrabies Falls. The Khoi called it Aukoerebis, the place of great noise, and you work out why pretty quick. You hear it before you see it. The whole thing comes down to rock. The Orange River runs into a wall of hard granite that won't wear away like softer ground would. So the water pinches in and drops 56 meters straight down into a gorge that runs 18 kilometers and sits about 240 meters deep in places. Look around the park and you'll see granite domes sanded smooth. Moon rock is the big one. They form when the outer sheets of rock peel off in layers, bit by bit, like an onion. Heat, cold, pressure, a few million years of it. Then the floods. Normal flow over the falls is 30 to 60 cubic meters a second. The highest ever recorded was in 1988, about 7,800. That's more water than the Niagara has pushed at its all-time record. The next big one was in January 2011, around 4,880. I wasn't here for either of those, and after standing on the edge of this gorge, I'm fine with it. 5 people have gone over these falls since the park opened. The river doesn't care how good your photos are. It's the boss. Always was. Yes, Stefan, what an awesome trip we had. What was your highlight of the trip?
I think when we left through East Cape, through the border post into Namibia, I said this is where the holiday begins. From then it was one big highlight. I loved Etosha, the biggest salt pan in Africa, 22,000 square kilometers, and the fact that it rained there was actually quite cool to see the pans wet and to see the animals in the water, etc. Then going through to Kaokoland, what a place, man. Marienfluss, unbelievable. Seeing my wife very happy lying doing angel wings in
the fairy circles.
Hey, that was cool to see. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, and then I mean Namibia is such a place of contrasts. Dameroland, the hot spring was quite cool. Really enjoyed that. And then Swakop again, lovely old German historic town.
Is that the weather in Swakop is just not nice? We had a nice day, and but it was New Year's Eve day. That was pretty sunshine, but otherwise it was just cloudy the whole time.
That was the one good day in December we had. It's the last day of the year.
Yeah, it is. It was awesome. And yes, Motsumi's breakdowns. How did that affect you?
It's something that we learn when you're on a trip like this, is to be flexible and to just go with it. I mean, shit happens, and you got to adapt and you got to sort it out. There's no other way of doing it, right?
Yeah, I always say adapt, improvise, and overcome. Eh? Yeah. So all in all, I think I lost about 10 days, and you guys lost about 4 days with the breakdowns. But it was sorted out in the end, and she is running fine. So all in all, what was your experience on the trip? I know we said in the beginning we've all got decisions to make in life that's life-changing. Did this trip help you in any of that?
I mean, one of the things I thought I would never do is grow this thing. My kids asked me to do it because they've never seen their dad. Aiden's 18 and Leon's 16 now. They've never seen me with anything more than a 2-day stubble.
So pushing boundaries, eh?
Yeah, looking in the mirror and not recognizing the guy you see is quite something.
Yeah, I've also somewhat joined the challenge. That's why I'm not shaved as well.
Yeah, we said we're not going to shave until the end of the trip. I cheated a bit because I made it a little bit neater, but it was good fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, one last thing. Will you do it again?
Oh, of course. There's a sign that we saw at Shametu, up in the Caprivi, that said, "Take me to Namibia because my soul needs to breathe," and that this is where you experience it. My hardest point and the most difficult was climbing that Hartmannsberg. Oh, yeah. That was it was pretty hectic. Although it was just like one place that was very difficult, and then another place that was, I think that one obstacle you can call a 5. Yeah. There's a rating in the obstacles between a 1 and a 5, 5 being very difficult, and the other one was about a 3. But that number 5 for me, I almost said, no, if this is what it looks like in the beginning, we have to turn around. We don't know what's going up there because my F250 is heavy. But we made it in the end. We pushed through. Yeah, that's I think the one place where I had only 2 wheels on the rocks for quite a big part of the uphill there. But yeah, it was good fun. Also at one point thought, nah, we're not going to get up this one. But we made it. Slow, steady.
Yeah, there was also that one place where we could turn around, and luckily we didn't, because from there it was smooth sailing. There was no obstacles further.
Yeah, and the Hartmanns vlakte is, I mean, that dune part that you drive on is just spectacular.
Also, one thing, we went up the Hartmannsberge, and we're driving on top of the Hartmannsberge, and then we were waiting for the down the Hartmannsberge, but that never happened. It turned into a dune belt just after that.
Yeah, it never came. It just was a gradual descent.
Stefan, thanks a lot for joining us on this trip. Our paths are separating today. Stefan and them are heading home. We're going to head down to Kuruman and maybe spend another night. But awesome trip, awesome friends to be with, and great companions. And trips like this, when things goes wrong, then usually it goes south, but on this trip it went north all the way up.
Yeah, but we saw a very good quote at the village cafe in Swakop that says, when things go wrong, don't go with them.
Also to leave them behind.
And that's something that you need to learn, is when it goes wrong, you need to make a plan.
Yeah. Stefan, thanks a lot. Awesome trip. Looking forward to the next one.
Very good, Corné. Thanks for everything, and thanks for putting it together.
Yes, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but all of a sudden millions and millions of birds flying over Augrabies Falls. And it looks like swallows. Good morning. On the last day of our Namibian trip, it's just after 7 o'clock, and I've been sitting here since 5:30 alone, listening to the waterfall, watching the swallows, catching all the muggies, and been sitting reminiscing about the trip. It all started with a line, an idea in my head, where paths begin. When I decided that, I didn't know how much those words will test me. I took a few bad turns with breakdowns and plans falling apart, but you can't stop. You have to push on, you have to keep on going. And as I sit here, I realized between the Kunene and the Orange, you will maybe not find your answers, but it gives you space to think. And what an awesome trip with awesome friends. And it's actually sad that we have to go home today. The journey ends here today, but there's one thing that I know for certain. The next path is already waiting. And that's the end of this 8-part series, Where Paths Begin. If this is the only one you've watched, go back to one and start there. One last word on the name, Where Paths Begin. It's the spot where the tar runs out and you're not sure what's coming next. Plans get looser, you stop checking the time so much. The road doesn't turn you into anything. But a few weeks of dust, bad corrugation, and Motsumi idling cold every morning sorts out pretty quickly what you actually care about. For me, that's the people in the truck, a quiet camp, and not much else. Thanks to everyone who watched, commented, and shared their own stories under these videos. Some of you put more into the comments than I can put into the footage. That counts for plenty. Stay safe, be humble, make a difference. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Ira